Welcome to this edition of Joe on the Job Site. We're continuing with my guest, Mark Ramos with DeWalt Tools. We had to take a break a little earlier so he could go address some sales calls that he had to make in the middle of our filming.
We did.
So he's back with us
I'm
now,
back, yeah.
but you were supposed to be back like 20, 30 minutes ago.
Man, the customer is priority, man. Had to make sure the customer is right, make sure they need what they needed, Had to get
Well,
it done. But I'm back.
I appreciate the fact that the customer is the first priority.
It is, correct.
That is in any industry and any person, your customers are the first one.
Correct.
So working for DeWalt, you've came through a lot of sales training and a lot of different aspects where you've learned different parts and pieces from one, and you seem to be doing quite well here at DeWalt.
I'm loving it here. Yeah.
What do you have additional? What's your next step with DeWalt if you stayed with them for a few more years?
Yeah. So my next step basically from this would be an account manager with them. Basically, that role has to do intent with distributors. So to bring that back a little bit, we don't sell direct because we're outside commercial guys. So we basically sell through distributor partners. And that next role may allow me to bring product into those distributors, have it ready. If a customer wants to come in and buy something in their building, they have it push the sales into that building, basically.
So if I called you and I said, "Hey, I want to buy 10 of this model," how would that process be?
So the process would be like, I'll find the best. I ask you first, like, what distributor you would like to buy for. Let's say you don't have a relationship with someone. I'll give some suggestions on different distributors that will help out to have the best deal, best promotion, best, get you the best product. And then if they have it in stock, if you need it right away, that's a good question. If you need it right now, can you wait a little bit, depending on that situation?
Right.
I will get you locked in with a distributor, and I would check the promotion, get their pricing for them, get the deal, let you know the deal, what the price is and the deal for the 10. And usually what I like to do as an outside rep is try to help close the deal, try to get a little incentive to help you out, let's deal, especially if you're buying 10. 10's a pretty good number, pretty solid. Yeah, good deal.
Well, at one time I bought more than that of different products. So years ago, I did the wood decking on one of the local theme park hotels, and it was a specialty wood. The name was Eki, and you had to have some long life tools.
Correct.
So I actually did a test. We had 47,000 square feet of this wood deck to put down, and you had about 16 anchors, or what we used was a salt spray rated screw.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And they were hardened and made specifically for this so that they didn't deteriorate with the chemical reaction in the wood. It wasn't a treated wood. It was just natural. The wood didn't rot. They use it as sluice gates in Holland.
There you go.
Here's the point. I bought 6 different brands of tools and I gave them to the guys. I had at one time, there was an old place called Boardwalk in Baseball where we put in one of those decks wandering through the park. It's no longer in existence, but we tested the tools, which ones last. And then once we figured it out, I didn't do the testing. The guys did it. And they said, this one's too slow, doesn't have enough torque, or they broke down quick. Or when you have a guy running a drill for 8, 10 hours a day, drilling a hole, putting in screws, drilling a hole, putting in, that's what he did all day long. And then we had guys that had to cut and trim the wood. So we tested out what saw blade worked, what skill saw held up. And then when we got that done, because I had in my career, I actually did 4 of that decks. So I knew what it took and what tool would hold up. And I would buy 15 of them at a time.
Correct.
15 drills, 15 screw guns. They weren't the same brand because I found out one brand lasted all the way through the work and I didn't have any problems. And maybe the drill was a different brand. So, and
we're hoping one of the brands were the DeWalt. We hope, right?
DeWalt didn't have the battery stuff back then.
There you go.
And that's really, if we had the battery tools now back then, we would have been using battery tools because I had to lay out cords in 3 ways every day to each one of those individuals that were working on the team, and they all had sections to work on. So it took quite a bit.
It's a time, yeah.
But the point of it is testing the tools.
Correct. So
you guys developed the tools.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit how you've worked at developing all of these tools, because you have a variety and you fit a tool for almost every craft.
Correct. Yeah. So we try to have a different tool for different aspects for each person. Basically, it's a couple steps. It's about 4 steps how to get to like a final product. Usually, it's a research and develop step. So that first step goes into like what is the need in the field, on a job site. What is the process of how it feels, touch, all different aspects when it comes to like inside and out of the tool. Then we actually get a tool or mock-up basically made, and then there's testing involved. And then we go back to those individuals that we did research and develop it with, and we give them the test. We give them the tool, let them use it. Let's say depends on the situation, but let's say a week, 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Try it out, feel, and get the feedback from them. So to tell us like, was the grip fine? Was it too heavy? Was it too light? Was it just the right fit for your hand? Did it feel like, any improvements? Does it need variable speed? Different aspects to try to make that tool improve.
That's a pretty good point, because when you're grabbing a tool and using it time and time again every day,
Correct.
having it fit your hand. Now, my hand's a little bigger than others, but that's important because your
Correct.
hand gets tired. It doesn't fit well.
Fatigue happens when you're holding the tool. Yeah. So like that's a big aspect of it. To feel like when you grab a tool, how does it feel in your hands? How does it weighs in your hand? How long can I use that job and use it for? That's like part of that research and testing aspect of it. Then me the feedback from them, figure out what's wrong with it, what we need to fix, we need to improve. Um, then we actually improve it to make sure all of it's ready. Then usually the tens, if it's not too bad, with if it's pretty on it, we test it out one more time, basically, to have the final touches and see what they thought and the feedback on it as well. And then usually it's just a final product after that. Basically, last step is it becomes a final project after the research, testing, and the feedback from it.
So, with a variety of tools, what brought that development on?
Yeah,
So, you've got mechanic tools, you can lift drywall, you can hammer drill, you've got screw guns for drywall installation. I've seen fans, I've seen porta bands, uh, multiple.
multiple tools.
How did you guys decide to develop those? What brought that in? Because a lot of these tools we had hands on, or we had electric tools years ago.
Correct.
The screw guns have been around forever,
Hmm.
but not having a tool, not having to carry the cord, lay out the cord, and run around that thing all day long. And then you have a stop on a screw gun for drywall that sets the head at the right
Correct.
depth. But now you're going to a battery tool. And the guys, they don't want to go change batteries every
No,
hour.
no.
They want
Yeah.
to keep the battery last them 3 or 4 hours. They're happy to put it in the charger, get a fresh battery, and
Hmm.
keep going.
Correct. Yeah.
So I've seen them in your development, where the ones I have at home have brushes in them.
Correct.
And and all the time I've owned the DeWalt tools, because my kids like to buy them for me. I've had one that failed, and that was because I dropped it.
Okay, there you go.
But what's the difference now between the ones I have at home, which you can almost call them antiques, because some of them are 10, 12 years old.
They're still working though. There you go.
They still work. How you've developed them from the brush type all the way up to the brushless, and then you have some XRs and stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
What does that mean to the person in the field?
Yeah. So basically brush, I look at it as a cost effective tool. The brush is regular basic entry level of a tool to try to get them to start the job if they're cost efficient, trying to test something out to see if it actually gets the job done for them.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing I feel like is brushless. So brushless, when it has to basically what it is, instead of having brushes in the tool, it's basically, in other words, like magnets in the tool. So it makes the tool a little bit more power, more runtime, and also longevity of the tool. So instead of, let's say, a tool brush, give you an example, a tool brush, to say, lasts like, let's say 10 years, it's 15 years. Brush.
Oh, so you're telling me I'm about to buy new ones?
You can, yeah. I'm just setting it up for you. But let's just say roughly around that time. And the brush just allows it to last a little longer, like let's say 20 plus years. So depending on the tool, depending obviously on maintenance, how much you use the tool and all that stuff. Also depending on the job, it could be construction sites. Some of the tools, they go every day in and out of the tool. It could last less depending on how you're using the tool. Correct.
Well, in my younger days, hanging drywall.
Yeah, correct.
You,
Yeah.
you hang drywall all day
All
long.
day long. Yeah.
And you had your basic tools, and the screw gun was an important part.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't want one that broke down or had problems.
No.
You wanted to work and earn
And
your
keep
money.
moving. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have some of them here that say XR on them, and What is the difference between an XR or some of the standard ones you
Yeah.
have?
So then there's like brushless, and then basically we made our own premium line XR. XR, it's more like an advanced brushless motor. Um, has more power, more runtime. Usually it has like a premium feature on it. So some of the tools have a label like perform and protect. So most of those things are like our safety. There's some safety aspect on the tool.
Right.
Um, but XR is like our high and premium line that allows them to get more power, runtime, and also longevity of the tool itself. Yeah.
So it's kind of like from standard duty to heavy duty.
Correct. Correct.
So I've been around jobs where I've dropped mine in puddles and water and stuff.
Oh man. Yeah.
How does yours hold up for that particular thing? Because sometimes I'm out caught in the rain. I got to get finished
And
and it's
go. Yeah.
downpouring, and I can't afford to have a tool
No, you cannot.
stop on me because it's wet. And years ago when we had the old metal case ones, if it rained, you put it down because it lets you know you
It's
got a little zap.
so usually, the brushed and I would say brushless and XR is more of those line where because there's magnets in the system. So yes, if it gets wet, not saying it's perfectly waterproof, but you can pick it up, let it a little dry off a little bit, and get to work. So the technology over time has gotten a lot improved and better that allowed the tool. If it does get a little water on it, it could be able to use it again.
It can
But
still go.
correct. I would just say let it dry out for a little bit. Blow it off, maybe a couple of minutes, and keep it moving.
Is the battery affected by the water in any way?
It very depends how it is because there's also these. If you look at the battery, sometimes they have these connections in. So the connection, when it gets filled up, the more water or corrosion that gets there, that would be the problem. But if it doesn't have too much water or buildup and corrosion in there, you should be pretty solid. Just definitely would like to dry it out, let it air out. I would say the battery is probably the spot where you'd be very careful with. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it got wet, take the battery off, get it
Correct.
dried out, or
Mhm.
blow it out, or something.
And then it should be
clean
able to
it.
work. I've seen multiple people on a job site where it's pouring rain, they dropped it or something that got soaked in a puddle and they picked it up. Boom. Oh, it's still working. And they kept going. So I've seen it multiple times.
I've done that a few times in my career,
Yeah.
and especially if it's electric drill, it usually trips the breaker.
Correct.
So, how many different tools is there out in the market for DeWalt like this?
I would say roughly like 300 plus at this point. There's a lot of tools. You have every different market, every different trade. If you think about it, drywall, carpentry, HVAC, mechanical, plumbing,
Yeah.
everything pretty much you needed. Every tool, even homeowner like the brush tools. Some of them are homeowner brands that you can use for that for homeowners. So it's all a variety of them, but mainly big focus with us. We try to do a commercial brand. That's our thing. We're trying to push with the XR, with the brushless,
Yeah.
and the new and improved tools.
So I'm a homeowner, and I like the commercials because they last longer.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, and when you started out with these battery powered tools, the batteries would go away, quit working, and a lot of times you found out it was a connection in from the cell to cell,
Mhm.
especially if you had the old style.
Mhm.
What's the expected life out of a 20 volt like this one, 5 amp hour battery? I mean, you're
The
using
tool or
it
the
every day.
battery, you're saying?
Hmm?
Both. The tool and the battery?
With tool, we know is going to last, but
Yeah.
what's the expected life out of a battery?
So it's a lot of factors in it. It depends on where you store the battery, where you keep it. If it's obviously it's like our cell phone. If you keep your cell phone in a hot area, it's gonna overheat. It's gonna bring the cells down and then drain the battery quicker. Um, our battery has about a 3 year warranty on most batteries. So
That's what I was looking
yeah,
for.
so they have 3 year warranty on each battery. Usually, there's some speculation in the smaller ones you might have 1 or 2 years, but majority rules is like about 3 year warranty on the battery. Um, but usually it depends on the uses of it. So I would say the uses, the storage, where you keep it, and how many times you use it a day. It's a big question because sometimes some people use it like homeowner once or twice, whatever. Versus a commercial site, you're using it every day,
Yeah.
8 hour days. Could be more time depending on it. So
So I think of my days in the craft. I've used a lot of battery powered tools. Is we switched from electric. I mean, I've even seen battery powered miter saws.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, battery powered cutoff saws for plumbing and for utility work. Um, if I have a problem with a tool, where do I go? What do I do with it?
Yeah, so luckily here in Central Florida, and not in every market, but in Central Florida, we do have a local DeWalt service center.
Right.
So that's a good spot to take your tools, fix it. We also have different locations in different states, different services that have other service centers. I can't remember the exact number of how many, to be honest with you, but there's like probably more than 10, probably more than 15 service centers around. Um, and then there's also like third party companies that we partner with that we allow them to help fix our tools. We train them and help them to. So there's different resources.
So I could get on
basically.
the internet and find it if
You
I
can,
needed to.
correct. There's also our website directly that will show you where all the service centers are or authorized users that could fix our tools as
Yeah.
well.
So you're in your sales,
Mhm.
you cover what, just Central Florida?
Yeah, so I cover all of Central Florida, also into the coast, like Melbourne, Palm Bay, in that area. A little bit all the way to like Ocala area as well. It's basically all central and a little bit of that coast, and a little bit up to Ocala is like probably the most higher area. Daytona sometimes, depending what's going on, but that's basically the general area.
Well, there's a lot of good equipment here. I like the examples we have on the table because
man.
they show stuff. I did not know you had something you could lift with.
Yeah. So this is our little grabber lifter. If you ever remember in the past when you're lifting up, let's say drywall or
Yeah, a lot
tile,
like this and a whole lot like this.
and tile or something like that,
The
or
large format tile.
you use the suction cups.
Yeah,
the pump
I've got those,
actions.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is basically that same concept. But it's battery powered. It has like, if you look in the bottom of it, it basically has a seal, so that basically helps out that grip of the tool. So it's basically using that suction to connect to the tool. It basically grabs anything like a flat surface, anything smooth, easy to grab, tile, drywall. Does about 265 pounds. So pretty good. Yeah.
I'm glad you took the cover off. I was
Yeah.
wondering how that worked with the cover
there you
on.
go. Yeah. So underneath it has a seal, and that's what actually grabs the tool and flatten it. Basically, it's like you hear like of a compressor. Basically, like kicks on like a compressor, pushes down pressure, and grabs the tool into it. It has a couple of features where like to turn it off, you have to press green then red. People think red automatically, but that's a feature just in case you don't.
So you don't accidentally
Correct.
let it go.
Mm-hmm.
How much can I lift with that thing?
265 pounds.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, man.
My age, I don't lift it. You know, one of the other tools I like is the ratchets you have in front of you, because I'm 68 years old and I've turned a lot of ratchets in my days. Not as much as some mechanics, but I like that tool because it saves a lot of me now.
It does, yeah. Your power, so the tool basically pretty cool tool. It does about 75 trying to think of the word, pounds maximum torque basically, and the RPMs is about 300. Pretty cool, neat tool about this. So let's say most people have 3/8 sockets and half inch,
which I do.
So basically, you can push this out. It's 3/8, and then you basically change it. Got a half inch as
Now
well.
I get a half inch.
Yeah. So it depends what you need. Got one ratchet for two tools, basically.
That's
one tool
good.
for two. Yeah.
Yeah, because it makes a difference when you don't have to go
Correct.
get the adapter or fool with an adapter.
Correct,
You've got
yeah.
it right there.
Yeah. So pretty cool, neat tool, and it helps out, mechanical basically too. We have other ratchets and different lines in here and there, but definitely saves you some arm strength when you're using one of these. Yeah.
I like the drywall screw gun there, and I see you have an attachment for an
Correct.
auto feed.
Mm-hmm. So basically, this drywall screw gun has 4 modes. It's an low, high, auto start. Basically, auto starts every time you push. Push start. Basically, every time you push it, it will engage the
It
screw.
turns on itself.
Basically,
So you don't have to keep doing this all day.
Or they have the auto function where you're want it on the whole time, and you just basically just boom, 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 and then this attachment right here in the corner. You'll see basically how it works is you can put a
feed strip
completely out of it to basically have multiple screws instead of doing one by one. Basically,
yeah. So you
change the head.
You don't have to keep putting it on.
Correct.
You can just keep going.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of guys using that on the jobs because it's time. A lot of people say, no, it costs too much. I can buy a box of screws. Yeah, but the poor guy's doing it's time.
It's time consuming. So
and
definitely
when you're wanting that drywall hung, that's a tool to add and save time.
Correct.
And move forward faster.
And it has a few also depth gauges, so you can change the size of the screw you're using for it. Pretty cool, especially if you see a whole crew using it and they're just going. Those guys just boom, 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 boom. All you do is change the strip, keep going, and they just keep doing all day. Yeah.
Yeah, the auto feeds are nice when you can get it done.
Correct.
So you have a tool for every job, just about. And I've seen air conditioning tools, plumbing tools, carpentry, electrical, and stuff. When these guys you're on the job site, how do you get this information to the guys on the site so you can say, hey, we have a Pro Press here. Let me show you how it's doing.
Yeah.
Do they call you up and say, hey, do we have a Pro Press? Or how do you display 300 tools. How do you get that? I know you could go to the website and they'll show you everything,
Correct.
but your sales and you go to the job sites with these folks.
hmm
How in the world do you just show them all those tools?
So it varies. So some situations where I have a couple people that are relationship based, and they'll tell me what tool they're looking for, what's going on. If I'm just going to a job site, I usually have a brand new tool. I mean, that's usually what I bring with me, something new, innovation that just starts an easy conversation. Then when that conversation starts, they'll like, oh wait, I also was looking at this tool. Like I was thinking about this, so that kind of continues. So I try to keep majority of the generic tools in my truck. It's a lot of tools, 300 plus tools, but
Yeah.
I try to keep as organized as I can per trade, per thing, and then mainly focus on the new product that's actually coming out when we're out and using it about in the field. So it gets a little bit, but that's the best way to do it basically. And it's word of mouth, like relationship based, talk to. But when you're in the job site, you show one tool, you're like, oh, then that person just automatically wants to talk about a different tool. That's when the other tool starts coming into pay.
So you guys feature job site delivery.
Basically, in other words, yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, so we help out us as your local rep, depending on what area you are. You can have training, the demo samples. I can let basically try it on the field, get feedback on it. We basically just out and about showing out the new products and what to show. Big thing is like also we do training showcases basically. We partner with a job site. We're going to a job site like safety week, and we'll talk about our perform protect line, and we'll show them all have to do with safety products, and that's when we'll bring out all the products.
That was the
Basically.
next thing I was going to ask
Yeah.
about safety training.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you guys sell like we wear gloves and safety glasses and things like that and hard hats? Do you
Mhm.
guys have a line for that also?
We do. We partner with one of our partners that actually do it with us as well. Hard hats, glasses, gloves. Are local main, help out. Basically, I'm an ambassador. That's how I feel like in the job. So any resource, anything I can help you with, it's not only tools, safety, even anchors. We also sell anchors. I don't know if anybody knew that. DeWalt sells fasteners and anchors at our own line. So that's also another thing we help out. We basically have the total solution package for a whole person on a job site.
So if you went to the job site for a delivery and someone said we're looking for things, you could actually show them, train them, and show them how to do it safely.
Correct.
So that they're safe on the job site. They understand the material, they understand the tool and its needs and their techniques.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. The whole solution for them.
I like that idea because there's a lot of times when people bring you tools and you just take them out of the box and go to work. And there are certain things. I mean, I noticed this one has a handle on it, which tells me that thing could have some torque in it. And if I'm just holding it with one hand, it's going to go sideways on me and twist my wrist or hit something and hurt it. I need to be using two hands.
Correct.
And like your safety feature on the lifter there where you can pick up drywall, you got to do a sequence to get it to let go.
Correct.
So if you're moving around or twisting in an uncomfortable position, you don't accidentally hit the button and it lets go.
Correct.
That's something you
Talking about that drill real quick. That safety feature it has on that one. It's one of our perform protect line and it's control feature. So you talk about your wrist. You
Yeah.
probably in the past have used it in a turn and it hurt yourself or hurt your wrist.
I've had that.
It has a feature like an E clutch. So basically, as you're twist using the tool, automatically if it has a bind up or a twist, the tool turns off, so you don't hurt yourself.
Well, that's a good feature
Yeah,
because
pretty
I've had a
cool.
lot of times where even the small ones I have at home, when you're drilling and they hit something or they bind, they'll torque and there goes your wrist.
That's it. Yeah.
Or if you got your cup of coffee next door, you knock it off the
Boom.
counter and you've got a mess to clean up.
Yeah.
So in all of your time here in your sales, what are some of the similarities and differences you've encountered as you've grew up into this position you're into now?
Yeah. So some similarities, I feel like, it's the main focus of sales. It's what's the need out there? What's the solution for someone that needs help? Resource for them and stuff. So when it came from beverages, a need was, a drink, what kind of drink they like, kind of resource they like, and or a consumer product basically. And then when it comes down to it, when you come into the power tool industry, a little bit different, but it's the same concept. It's a need, a resource to get something done. So that's the big similarity from them, like trying to see what the person needs to best have their job or need or support they need in that aspect.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now, in your similarities, sales is about people,
Correct.
and it's about relationships and living up the promises and warranting or discussing training your product.
Hmm.
And without that, that relationship where people feel like, hey, I can call Mark and I've got a good relationship with him. I got a problem tool. I need some attention. What do I do with it? Or you can help them.
Correct.
And in the sales, I love the part about the sneakers.
Brings
So,
you back.
so from sneakers all the way through marketing and sales, and now you're still in sales in a part to where you're out servicing clients and relationships
Correct.
and building.
Mhm.
And that kind of trust and relationship is imperative, whether you're, if an architect is on a project with me or the owner, the best thing that you can get in in the construction industry is the fact that an owner wants you back on your team back on the job because you
Correct.
performed well. He feels comfortable with
Hmm.
you and so on. And when we come back on the job, we're going to use the same contractors that have performed well with us that we have a trust relationship with. And on a lot of times on projects, things go south a little bit or
It
something
does.
gets missed or you have a problem. You need something special to fix the issue. And you don't realize it, but there's always two heads are better than one.
Hmm.
That rule is out there when you're talking with people. You get feedback on your tools, you take it to your company. They help modify or change or rectify whatever the situation is if it's in within reason.
Correct.
Now, if I threw mine in the ocean and it got wet and it sat there for 2 days,
It's
yeah,
a
I
little different.
understand that's not gonna work.
A little
But
different.
it's the time.
Correct.
So what would if you were talking to someone that you were going to mentor that's coming up in the trades, what advice would you have from your experience from selling sneakers?
He's still
Uh,
mind blown on that.
I like that.
That's good though.
I had a friend of mine that was in the electrical union, and he realized that in genetics his bones weren't going to last long, so he got out of the trade and went into pharmacy. He's
Oh,
now a
there you go.
pharmacist. You moved through sales, you tried marketing, and you've had mentors along the way. So if you were looking at someone younger that's coming up through the trades in the company, let's say sales,
Hmm.
because that's your primary focus, what advice would you offer to that person?
Yeah. Best advice I would say, especially for someone that's coming up in the business and sales or contractors or any aspect, is just having that relationship. Relationships go a long way. Being a person, just being learning from people. Be a listener. A very big thing is being a listener to people. So you might not know everything, but you learn from other people around you, people that help you, different resources, and having that listening mindset and learning will get you a long way. I think that's a big aspect from it. And then who you meet, like like I said about relationship, who you meet, it's huge because you don't know who you meet. You don't know if you meet your next boss. You don't know if you meet the next CEO of a company, another person on a job site, or any aspect. So I think those are the two main hand in hand. It helps each other is and having that partnership. I would say is a big aspect because you say you want to do something, you will have her just show and being showing up and showing out what you do and doing the right thing. It's always a big thing. So having partnership, trying to have that build relationship with that person to make sure, hey, I'm not just a tool manufacturer. I'm not just a person that has the tools. I'm a partner. I want to grow, help you, and be the best. So that thing, that aspect, if you look at a mindset of that view on any aspect of a job or
Right.
anything, it's gonna get you a long way because you're learning people, learning skills, learning all it needs to be to get to that point.
So with a little heart,
Little
a
hard,
little
yep.
dedication,
Dedication, yep.
little thought,
Mm-hmm.
and listening.
Mm-hmm. This is a big
Well,
aspect.
yeah, listening is a big aspect. You can learn a lot by listening.
You can.
That will help you grow up through your craft,
Correct.
whatever trade or profession you pick.
Whatever you pick. Yep.
Yep.
I agree.
So, well, I want to thank you. I love the tools that we have here on display, and I know we couldn't put all 300 up here. We
I
just
wish,
pile
right?
them around us. But thank you for coming and working with us, talking to us about the product and the tools and how you've made it through life.
Yeah, and thank you for having me, man. And I appreciate the time. Just want to say, like, if anybody out there needs help, any resources, Mark Ramos, you can reach out to me here in local in Central Florida. But if you have anything out there, look, for any help or support, partnership. Definitely the thing is being a long partner with the company. So I think if you need any resources and anything to help on the field, just reach out to your local DeWalt representative, and they definitely will help you. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that very much.
Yeah. I
Thank you for
appreciate your time.
well, thank you for being here. This is Joe Smith with Joe on the Job Site with my guest Mark Ramos, and thank you for today.